babes. Welcome back for another episode of the Babe That's Bonkers podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee, and I am so happy to be here, so happy to have you here. Today, we are going to be talking about some fun things. Fun indeed. We are going to be chit-chatting about how to be cool because obviously I have all the answers and am very clearly just the coolest person ever. Just kidding, just kidding. But I do have a lot of thoughts on the concept. And I thought now would be a good time to share because it's like winter. Everything's cool. Everything's cold outside, at least over here in the northern hemisphere of Earth. I don't know why calling the planet Earth, like referring to where we're at as Earth, feels like fake almost. Like, I don't know, like I'm pretending to be in some sort of like science fiction movie, but it's actual real life. Like we are on Earth, this like rock floating through space. How funny. Kind of just puts into perspective some of our petty issues in life and whatever. But anywho, I'm already rambling, getting off topic. We're gonna jump in with some life updates. I have some astrology thoughts. I'm trying to make that a more regular thing. Like, I really want to center life updates around just like human experiences that I'm going through / lessons I'm learning, if that's not like the whole episode already. And then I definitely want to take time to like chat about food, probably in some way that's like such a huge part of my life, everyone's life. We have to eat food all the time. So yeah, there's that. And then something just a little bit, different, maybe a rotation of different interest on, no specific order, calendar, schedule, whatnot, but some astrology thoughts, some artsy thoughts, things like that. So we're going to kick things off with astrology thoughts because as I was scrolling this morning on Instagram, there was a new post by the Cosmic Latte letting me know that. What was it letting me know? I need to. I just read it. It's so early in the morning today, so just give me some grace here. But yes, we are going to be experiencing a full moon in Gemini on the 15th. So that's in a few days as I'm like recording this, and it will be past tense a few days ago by the time any other humans will be listening to this. So we just had a full moon in Gemini, folks. And Gemini is the ruler of dun 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 Mercury, which is in dun 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 retrograde. Bum bum bum. Like it's actually happening. It's not a joke this time. Mercury in retrograde is in progress, folks. But as far as the full moon goes, I'll just read one little snippet. Just events are going to be coming full circle. It's going to spark a lot of clarity in areas of life that have felt complicated, frustrating, hazy over the past few weeks or whatever. And I do agree. I feel like I got this like burst of energy all of a sudden and was like, I'm ready to kick ass in life. Let's do the damn thing. And that only lasted for a few days. I was hoping that was going to be the rest of my life forever and ever, but it was not. It was just a few days, and I'm still trying to like push through this now feeling of just like blah. I'm tired. I feel burnt out and exhausted. Probably several factors playing into that. But personally, for me, as an Aries, because that's all I really care about as far as horoscopes go, is my own. Not true. I do think others are interesting as well, but mine's on the top, so it's the one I read first anyways. My focus will be, communication, learning, community, events, siblings, perhaps. I do have a lot of siblings, which is funny because I feel like an only child, because that's how I was raised for the first chunk of childhood, and then bada bing, bada boom, all of a sudden I have a bunch more siblings. So that's interesting. But what's most interesting is just like the community and events thing, because I have a Christmas party to go to this weekend for work, for my new job. So I'm going to be meeting a bunch of coworkers that I don't interact with regularly. My specific position is very independent and solo, and I travel a lot, sales, marketing type thing. And I'm very excited to like actually meet my like actual coworkers, because at the moment I feel like my coworkers are the people I go and visit, but they do indeed work for other companies, so that's kind of funny. But yeah, what a coinky dink, right? Or is it? Bum bum bum. That's why I think astrology is really interesting. Like it just gives you stuff, words, and sometimes some of them will like resonate with you. And then that gives you an opportunity to like reflect or have a moment of introspection, if you will. And I think that's really what it's all about. You know, we could all do for reflecting every once in a while. If we don't reflect on like our own actions and our own life, then how are we going to be able to learn in order to like adjust our course to get to where we're trying to go? You know, if we don't do those things, we'll probably end up very stuck and stagnant. So that's why I love astrology, and also because I'm a witch. Haha. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. But next little life update is I'm attempting meal prepping once again. I'm only a couple days into it, but here's how it's going. Here are my thoughts. I made just like a big batch of chicken and rice. Rice I did in the Instant Pot. I don't use the like rice setting because on the like bag of rice I buy, it gave me like instructions for a pressure cooker, and it says to just pressure cook for 5 minutes and then naturally release for like 20-25 minutes or something like that. So that's what I do to make rice. Obviously, rocket science going on over here. But to try to zhuzh it up, I do use broth instead of water whenever cooking my rice. I feel like it just, you know, gives a little more flavor just like that, and maybe some salt. It depends on what kind of broth I'm using. If I'm like making broth from like the powder, I won't add more salt until like the end. If I'm using like liquid broth, I will add salt. I don't know if one is actually saltier than the other. Most broths are fairly salty or like high in sodium unless you're buying the low sodium option. So I don't know. Rice just usually needs salt. It absorbs a lot. You know, it's one of those like starchy things like potatoes. Anywho, I also made chicken, and I was very excited because the stoneware piece that I thrifted a few months ago is the perfect size for like 5 really big chicken breasts. Like I got a like big old tray of chicken breasts. Normally I'll like take a couple and like freeze the rest or something like that, or I just don't buy that many. I usually buy like a small pack of like 3 or 4 because we're only 2 people, you know. We just need dinner and some leftovers. But this time I was just making all leftovers. Kind of funny. But yeah, my big old stoneware piece was just like the perfect size to like meal prep a bunch of chicken breasts, because normally I cook chicken in the cast iron, the little skillet. However, that only fits 2, maybe 3, and I had 5, like I've said a million times at this point. And that was just really, really satisfying to like see them all fit in there perfectly, and like I thrifted the piece, so it's like it also found me, and it's a very meant to be moment, I would say. And yeah, now we just have like a bunch of chicken and rice on hand for the week. So that's what my partner made for his lunch for work today. I made chicken and rice soup last night. I just like made some chicken broth with like the powdery stuff. I do prefer the like boxed liquid, but it's nice that I have that on hand because I had run out of boxed liquid chicken broth. And maybe if I cook a whole bird one of these days, I'll like make my own, but it's hard to make your own everything. So do what you can, where you can type thing. That's where I'm at. But yeah, I made chicken and rice soup, and it was so easy because it's like, okay, I have onion and celery on hand. I grabbed some carrots from the freezer because we had a bunch of vegetables in the fridge, so I just bagged them up and tossed them in the freezer before we left for our vacation. So we still have them to use. They did not go bad. That was a super smart thing I did. Made me feel like an absolute genius. And yeah, then I had the chicken and rice on hand, and it was so easy. It was very yummy, even though I kind of burned it. I did indeed forget about it, and just having rice in there, it absorbed a lot of the liquid and then started to burn. But I just scooped around that part, and it was fine. You know, if you just leave the burnt bits behind, how will they know? My boyfriend ate it. He said it was fantastic. Exactly you know, what he was looking for. He requested soup also because he's been feeling a bit under the weather as things are chillier, cold season, if you will. I read this thing the other day that I thought was really funny, that there's no actual like cold and flu season. It's just winter. And I thought that was really funny because it's like, well, duh. You know, like winter just provides the perfect environment, for our immune systems to decrease. You know, if you think about like what is naturally available, like farming wise, like winter is a very like low abundance season, and you know, it's a lot of root veggies and leafy greens, and then you got to go get your meat and whatever. And that's how our ancestors would sustain themselves. Fish, perhaps, if they lived along a coastline. And this is such a funny thing for me to be rambling about. I did not mean to go here, but here we are. But yeah, there's not a bunch of like fruit and whatnot available the way compared to like the summertime, whenever things are warm. Like that's when all the like fruit comes out. And I do think that's why oranges specifically are a winter season fruit, because we really need that vitamin C to like boost our immune system. Like it's almost like Mother Nature knew or something that we would need some assistance in that department. So the fruits it did give us in the winter time were, you know, just the superfood we need to like make it through until spring, when all the other fruits and stuff with the macronutrients that we need to survive ripen and are ready for harvest. But I think that's really interesting to think like there's not actually a cold and flu season, like it's just winter, and we just aren't doing the things to like adapt to the season the way we should be as humans. We're just trying to like keep everything the same, like, oh, we have to change the temperature in our house rather than letting our body, you know, adapt to the cold. I was just listening to a very, very interesting podcast. I can't remember anyone's names off the top of my head at the moment. If I do, I'll share. But it was just chit-chatting about how like there are just like a lot of natural solutions for us to feel better and gain energy and just, you know, boost our immune system and increase like our quality of life and just like how we feel in general. And there, you know, are a bunch of like free ways, like just like getting sunshine, going out and doing some like grounding things, like actual grounding where you're like touching the ground with your bare feet or bare palms or whatever. And yeah, so just since listening to that, a lot of that kind of stuff has been on me mind, and it has me very motivated in that department to like, I don't know, just embrace more holistic practices to try to feel good before turning to like medicine, I guess you could say. I don't know. Medicines can sometimes just be like a band-aid on a broken bone type of fix, in my personal opinion, like taking melatonin every night to sleep. Like you're gonna build a tolerance. Now you're dependent on, you know, supplemental melatonin so your body can release melatonin properly to sleep decently. Or you could drink chamomile tea or take a CBD gummy when you need it, and, you know, let that be the tool to help you in your sleep without, you know, doing it every night to like build up some sort of tolerance type of thing. That's just like where I'm at in my holistic health journey. But I'm getting pretty off topic at this point. Very rambly this morning, but like a slow ramble. I'm not like hyped. It's because it's early. It's quite early. It's actually before I've even had breakfast. And I also skipped coffee today. Instead, I have my like pre-workout drink, Amino Lean. They changed the recipe, or I just got the wrong flavor in my box. Like something's definitely different, but it still tastes good and it still makes me feel good. That's just something I like to do on mornings when I'm either rushed or feeling lazy. You know, it's just powder and water, and you know, it makes me feel really good because it gives me like that like caffeine boost I need in the mornings. As a regular coffee drinker, I am indeed caffeine dependent, but it's fine. Not like in an unhealthy way. I just have, 1 cup a day, and I'm pretty strict on like the times I consume caffeine to not like mess up my sleep too bad and whatever. So don't worry about me. I'm a healthy caffeine addict. And I think the pre-workout in the morning also makes me feel good though, because it gives me like electrolytes and vitamins and starts me off like hydrated in the morning to like get started throughout the day. Whereas like coffee, it does give you that caffeine boost, but it kind of starts you in like a dehydrated zone. So then I'm like always playing catch up. I usually try to drink like a liquid IV or some sort of like electrolyte drink immediately after I drink coffee, or at least that's what I've been trying to do the past like week, and it's been great. I am peeing so much more often, which is really inconvenient and annoying, especially working like on the road, traveling a lot, but it's worth it because I feel good. And it's like, I drink my coffee, I drink my electrolytes, and then I just like drink water the rest of the day. And then I feel like by dinner time, I've earned myself like a fun drink. So I'll have like lemonade or juice or whatever, because that's what I think a fun drink is. We don't usually buy soda. I guess we do have alcohol, but that's only whenever like we have like a fancy meal. Will I bust out the Trader Joe's Moscato or whatever. But yeah, there's a little life hack for me if you're sometimes just like rushed in the coffee department, don't have time to like baby your pour over. Like I like to, try some pre-workout. It's makes me feel good. As much as I don't really love like process things like that, maybe I should do some research, Google it on how to make like a natural pre-workout, because I have been thinking about that as far as like electrolyte drinks go. Like I do like the liquid IV, it is very handy, but I don't like not having a version I could make myself. So like, what do I need to add to my water to like also give me a bunch of electrolytes and vitamins and make me feel super hydrated and healthy? I don't know, but if I find out, I will share with you. I will include you, welcome you onto that journey with me, whatever. Let's move on, because I have another life update. I'm just really rambling and bambling today. I feel like the lights are going crazy. I don't know if that's just my eyeballs, but something's happening. And yeah, see, well, I don't know. It's fine. I'm not a technology lighting expert, so we're gonna deal with it. This is actually the lamp that sits on my nightstand that I move over to the computer every day, because there's just like backlighting in the room, and I need something to make me not look like a creepy, ghosty gremlin goblin. Anywho, the third life update for today, we finally made it, is that I am trying to care about my looks again, but in a healthy way this time. It has been quite the journey. I will potentially deep dive someday on just like my relationship with myself and the way I look and whatever. But essentially, where I'm at the moment today is, now that I've started this new job where I am, essentially where I am at today, now that I've started this new job where I'm just like interacting with people a lot, there's a lot of customer service type things involved, or just like networking. I'm interacting with a lot of people all the time, and I'm traveling a lot, and it's really fun, and it's different than what I've been doing for the past few years, where I just kind of like have my set people that I like see. And for the past like 2-3 years, I've had jobs where I need to be very like mobile and capable, whether it's like growing plants in a large facility or nannying. Like they were just both very like active jobs, and also some very dirty jobs, like working at a grow with plants. I just never knew whenever I'd get covered with soil if I would accidentally like splash some fertilizer on my clothes. And we wore like protective PPE whatever over our clothes, but liquids soak through layers and whatever. And nannying, obviously, lots of messes there. I was always constantly being handed a dirty, sticky baby, hence why one of the many reasons I'm not nannying anymore. But so I would never wear clothes that like I cared about or liked or like wanted to look good in. But now that I'm not doing a dirty job, I'm doing like a interactive person-to-person job. I don't know how else to describe it. That's like the main difference in my head, is that I'm just like, there are just so many people, so many new people. It's kind of crazy, but it's good. It's good for me. It's forcing me out of my shell to be social, because I am a very charismatic person at the end of the day. I am just also an introvert, so those types of interactions don't recharge me, but they are good for me. So, long way of saying, I'm just trying to like put fits together again and be cute. Like, I'm wearing jeans, which is crazy, not leggings every day. And like I'm wearing this like black turtleneck because, you know, I wear t-shirts for my job currently, also from like my company. So it's like I'm trying to have some like cool like graphic tee grungy fit. So I'm gonna like put it over the turtleneck. I did it a few days ago, and I'm just re-entering my turtleneck era because I have a few black turtlenecks, and I think it really elevates a t-shirt. And it's cold, but it's cuter than like just having like a hoodie or jacket on over, because my work jackets are also very casual. And yeah, I'm excited about trying to look good again, but it's also just like not a part of my routine. I've kind of forgot how to like do things like, doing my hair. Like, I just have it in like a little ponytail today, which I think looks good with the turtleneck, you know, whatever. But like I used to curl my hair every day in like middle school and like beginning of high school, and I used to wear makeup every day, and that's not something I'm looking to get into personally. I've had quite the journey with makeup. I still think it's very fun, especially for like a special event, but in my mind that's like attending someone's wedding or something like that. I probably won't even wear makeup to like this weekend's Christmas party. Like, I have just worked very hard to like love my skin naturally the way that it is and whatnot. And again, all things I can further explain. If you're interested, let me know. Leave a little comment if you're feeling it. But yeah, I'm just at an interesting place in my journey where it's like I'm trying to like care about the way that I look again, but also not care too much, because that's not like the most important thing about myself, and I am perfectly happy, healthy, and worthy, you know, without putting in an exorbitant amount of effort into my appearance. So I don't know, it's just like a tricky place to be, but also kind of fun, because I do realize how much I've grown and how far I've come as far as like judging myself and the way that I look and whatnot. So that's cool. It's cool to grow, and just it's cool to like, I don't know, love myself more than I used to. I feel like I do need to love myself even more in this season of life than I currently do. However, it's more than I did whenever I was like a self-deprecating teenager. So that's cool. That's still progress, and I can be grateful for that for now, for the time being, but also not be content with just that, because I want to always be growing and moving forward and bettering myself in some way, shape, or form. And I hope you feel that way too, because that's what we all deserve, you know? Alrighty, now that I have just yapped your ear off, talked your ear off, however the saying goes, we're finally ready to get into the meat and potatoes of today's episode, how to be cool. So this is the secret, you guys. You need to do all of the things that you find interesting, and then you will be cool. And you also have to like be kind and respectful towards other humans, because that's like the bare minimum, and we should not accept anything less than that, you know? So those are the standards. It's really just that simple. And I think it's important to recognize that being cool has nothing to do with the things that other people are doing, and it has everything to do with doing the things that you feel drawn to and that you feel are interesting and that you think are cool, even if like society perhaps doesn't embrace those things as cool. Like, fuck that, you know what I mean? Like, for example, things that I think are interesting, and whenever I'm doing them make me feel like a cool person, are like artsy things. So going on my photography walks, having painting sessions, doing any sort of arts and crafts, crochet, embroidery, which I haven't attempted yet, but will be coming soon, hopefully, fingers crossed, or maybe cross stitching or sewing instead. But always looking to expand my craft skill repertoire. And some people might think that like those are like grandma activities, like crocheting, but I think it's definitely making a comeback. We all know that it is. And all the girlies are crocheting these days. And it's because we've realized that it's not just a grandma activity. It is cool. And that's kind of what I'm, talking about whenever I say like you have to be doing like all the things that are interesting to you. And like that's what matters. Like, does it spark something in you? Because we're all drawn to different things. We're all interested in different things for many different reasons. And like that's what makes humans so cool, and interacting with other humans is because I'm built to like the things that I like. And if I do them, that's gonna give me a bunch of stories and like things to share with the world. And that is cool. But someone else who likes a different set of different things, and if they do them, has their own set of stories or things to share with the world. And when we combine and we are able to like swap stories, swap experiences, swap creations, share with one another, then that creates like a really cool thing in itself. And I have the opportunity to appreciate something that I wouldn't have appreciated without having that sort of connection, which is really awesome in my opinion. And then that gives me the opportunity to decide like, oh, do I think that this is so cool that like I want to start doing it, and like I want to add it to like my selection of cool activity. I have another hand here. That makes the hand gesture make more sense. But do I want to add it to my list of activities I try to do on the reg, to like live an interesting, fulfilling life? Or do I just think it's cool like for you to do, and I can like appreciate that like it's not necessarily for me and it's not something that I feel drawn to, but like it's awesome that you're drawn to it, because we need everyone to be drawn to different things. That's what gives us variety and whatever else in life. You get what I'm saying? I do believe. But I really do think that that's the secret, is just like being confident in your own interests and actually engaging in them. And it's all easier said than done, because the way our society operates does not provide us with enough time to balance work and taking care of ourselves and having a social life and having hobbies, ding, 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 which is really what we're talking about. It's just, there's not enough time in the days for the most part, but it's about just like trying your best and taking each day, as it comes, one at a time. And like, if I filled my social cup yesterday, maybe I can fill my craft cup today instead. And maybe tomorrow, I can do like half and half or something like that, as we just try to keep our cups full. I don't know, I'm rambling into another metaphor at this point. But I also think that being cool has a lot to do with just like the way you carry yourself and the way you believe in yourself and the way you believe in the things that you find interesting. Like, I think it's important to realize it's not embarrassing to be interested in something that's different than, whoever else you might be interacting with or seeing. I think this was super relevant just like in high school. You see all these people, and there's like obviously the like cool popular kids, and then there's like the kind of like weird antisocial kids, but they're still having fun. That's what I always admired about like the like anime kids, I guess you could say, at my high school. They're maybe doing things that I didn't understand, which I do now that I've like gotten into anime a little bit, but like Naruto runs around campus, goofy kid stuff. And I would always be like, kind of weird, but like they do seem like they're having a good time. And now I have like introduced myself to anime, and I realize why they're having a good time, because it's a cool world. Wide world, its own, like it's literally like its own whole entire universe. It's wild. But anyways, that's a little sidetracked. But yeah, I think high school era was whenever all that jazz was like most relevant, I guess you could say. And I just think it's important to, just shake off those embarrassing feelings. Easier said than done, but I think it is so fulfilling to do that and just embrace, like, I'm gonna do it because I want to have fun and I think it's cool. So, like, let's make the most of it. Like, there's no reason to harbor all of these, like, negative emotions. They are only holding you back and reinforcing, like, feelings of insecurity, I would probably say. That's like, I don't know, the like pattern? No. Not rabbit hole either, but just like the what is the phrase? I cannot think. Series of events. Yes. You feel embarrassed, you don't do it, reinforces insecurity, blah, 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 blah. Chain of events. That's what we're going for. Anywho, moving on. One last thought in regards to how you carry yourself. It really is just like about being confident. Not necessarily like in general, there are shy people in this world and they have their places, and I have shy moments and I also try to be confident. Like, they're not mutually exclusive things, but it's about being confident in the fact that, like, whatever you're interested in is meant for you, and also realizing, like, it's not for everybody, but it's for you. And I think that there is just like a lot of power and a lot of security in that way of thinking. So if that becomes a new little mantra in your head and helps you out, you're welcome. Just kidding. That's just how I operate. I like take these thoughts and I try to make them mantras in my head to like fight back the like scary, bad, negative thoughts. That's just, I don't know, the war waging on in the mind or whatever. But I did want to go through some activities that like I think are cool. I already mentioned a few, all the like artsy fartsy ones, but I also think that like taking care of myself is cool and everything that has to do with. So, like eating healthy and caring about my sleep and the different products I use and put on my skin and whatever. I think that kind of stuff is very cool and interesting to learn about and extra cool to practice because it's gonna freaking give me a good life. You know what I mean? A strong, solid foundation. That's what we are working towards. Of course, as I've mentioned, I think outdoorsy things are cool. Hiking, camping, yoga, swimming, I guess that's also kind of like exercise stuff. But yeah, yoga and swimming are also much better outside than inside. You might think that you can't swim inside, but there are indoor pools, and indoor pools at gyms just aren't, you don't get like the benefit of the sun. You know what I mean? And I think that there's a lot that goes into that. I think cooking, gardening, taking care of plants, indoor plants, house plants, whatever, ornamental plants, edible plants, smokable plants, all of those things I think are super duper cool. And if I'm actually engaging in those activities, then I think, and I feel like I am a much cooler person, which also makes me feel more confident. Like it's like a positive feedback loop. I think you could say, like, you think the activity is cool, so then you do the activity, so then you feel cool, and then you are cool. It's very much like be as you wish to seem. I think that's Socrates or Plato. I said both of them. One of them's right. I know that. But be as you wish to seem, like fake it till you make it. Like do the things that the best version of you would do, or whatever version, like the healthiest version of you, the most happy version of you. Like you have to do those things that person, that version of you would be doing in order to become them, in order to be seen as that type of person. I also wanted to touch on some of my nerdier hobbies that I've picked up, and I've very much been embracing them, as my partner is also very interested in many of these things, and I feel like this is where we just have some like extra opportunities to bond by engaging in these hobbies together. And it's been cool just like hyping each other up to just like be nerds, and again just like not be embarrassed or ashamed. Like so many of these things are actually like so cool. But just to like name off a few that I'm personally interested in would be like Pokemon, top of the list. We've been collecting Pokemon cards, and I love it personally because there are like different artists who like put out like a few different cards, and I've been like compiling all the different like artist pieces of work together. And my partner, he likes collecting cards also for the artwork, but for like different reasons. He's collecting like the shiny Pokemon. If you know, you know. If you don't, whatever. But like we each have like our thing we like within like the same hobby, so like that's been super duper fun. And I'm also a big Harry Potter gal. I've definitely discussed that in the past, and I actually watched Harry Potter last night with my partner, so there's proof. I've also been wanting to like collect some Harry Potter memorabilia, but I just don't know what category I want to go in. I think it might be Legos, perhaps. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm also a big Star Wars fan. Star Wars is something my dad and I bonded over. I have the most badass lightsabers my dad got me for Christmas whenever I was a kid. They're just like so realistic, and like not just like the ones that like pop out. Like it's just, they're cool. They were definitely expensive, but they're very, very cool. And I'm very behind as far as like keeping up with like the Star Wars content goes. There's so much of it, and just for a really long time I didn't have Disney Plus, so no access to it. But I do now, so I definitely have some catching up to do. And I've been thinking about, you know, once like Christmas is over and, you know, I'm done with like the holiday vibes, I do think I'm gonna start putting up like Star Wars content just in the background as I do things sometimes. I think I just really enjoyed that with Harry Potter, and I think that would just like help me familiarize myself with some of this like new content, but without like feeling like I need to like dedicate so much of my time to like sit down and like watch it without any like distractions. Like that would be ideal, but there's only so much time in the day, and I am currently already committed to the next one I wanted to share, which is Naruto. He has taken over my life, and it's fun. I will say, I never expected animes to be A, as like engaging as they are, B, as like creative as they are. They really are so creative, and C, they just like reflect the human experience in such a unique way. And of course, like it makes sense that it's like a little different because, you know, it's a part of like the Japanese culture versus the American culture, which is also interesting to like see differences within that, and like how they like speak about various concepts and whatever. And something that I've realized about anime that like has helped me just like embrace it more is realizing just like some of the like gorier, grotesque scenes and stuff like that, you know, are not pleasant, but that's kind of the point. They're simply trying to like include the like full spectrum of like everything we as humans can like feel and experience, and all those feelings aren't pleasant. And I think that they're just doing a really great job of doing that. And like I said, it's not always like the most fun thing to experience, but it's also only temporary, you know. It's just like a few scenes and it moves on. And then there are other scenes that are just like so heartfelt and deep, and there have been so many moments where I have just been like brought to tears by like the beautiful concepts these shows are able to explain. The few animes I watched before Naruto were like Death Note and Attack on Titan, and this is like my third one. And I don't know if Avatar counts. I feel like it does, but it doesn't. I feel like I've just heard that there's like debate about that, so it is what it is. It was wonderful. Honestly, Avatar is one of my favorites because I actually watched a lot of that as a kid, so there's like some like nostalgia a part of that for me. And yeah, it has just been very fun. However, it is very, very time consuming. Like I've realized we really haven't watched much of anything else. We used to like toggle between like 2 or 3 shows, and frankly, there's no time for that. There are way too many episodes. So here we are, deep into the Naruto world, and I think I mentioned like that's what we were for Halloween, which is really funny. And that's what our costumes were based on, was the show. And yeah, I just want to point out, like, nerdy stuff is cool too. And they're just like these whole little like universes created by different people's minds that we have the opportunity to enter because they have created content in the form of like books or magazines or graphic novels or TV shows or just so many different things for us to consume and like jump into these worlds. And it's awesome. That is one of the amazing things about life is that we have these ideas and these concepts and we can share them with each other. That is a huge part about being cool, I think. And I think, the first step to like being willing to share it is just like having the confidence in yourself, just believing that like what I think is cool is cool. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks is cool. I also wanted to share some like things that I'm very much not interested in, and that doesn't mean that these like things aren't cool to be interested in by any means. It just means that they're not for me, and I just felt like, sharing that. And I just thought that maybe sharing some things that like I don't really care about but are very cool for like other people to care about, I don't know, just could make you realize like there are two sides to the coin. You know what I mean? So I'm really not interested in horror films. I used to like say I like scary movies growing up, and I think it's because I really just tried to like embrace like this like I'm not scared of anything. I don't cry. I'm whatever type personality as a teenager. And I would watch scary movies and like they would be fine. I would get through it. But now that I'm older, and especially since I've lived alone, that season of life really changed just like how I feel about a lot of spookier content. I have to do like detoxes of like watching true crime. Like I do love it, or like not true crime necessarily, but like fictional crimes, like Criminal Minds and CIS, whatever. Those are some of my favorite shows to watch. But I do have to like take a long break after going through the seasons, or sometimes I would really like to watch like a palate cleanser episode, usually like Bob's Burgers or something cute and sweet like that. Because they would give me nightmares or just make me, I would notice I would just like be more uneasy throughout my days and anxious, just like mostly being in public spaces, and that just wasn't fun. So now I just don't consume as much of that content. And again, like I even enjoy it. Like I do think it's cool, but I just have to set some boundaries with myself because I realize how they make me feel type thing. And I will say I don't really care for like horror movies like The Exorcist or anything like that, like those type of like demon like things. And it's not because I think it's gonna bring like bad juju or it's like sinful to watch or something like that. I don't vibe with it. It just doesn't do it for me the way that like thrillers do. Thrillers, on the other hand, where it's like a little bit more realistic, real life, like that I can get into, and that will like make me feel the feelings that you're supposed to feel watching a cinematic experience and whatnot. But yeah, the horror ones, they're just not up my alley, and that's okay. And I still think that like there are many people out there who love horror films and get really really into them, and that's very cool for them. And I respect that, and I think it's awesome that horror films can be appreciated in that way by somebody, but that's not me, so win-win for everyone. So the other thing I had on the list was just like first person shooter games. I have no interest in them. I don't know, just aren't my vibe. Like if I want to play games, I've been really loving Hogwarts Legacies recently. Been considering streaming that, so it could be something in the future to check out. I've also been really enjoying RuneScape. That's something I just started, and I'm into it. There are like opportunities for me to like develop my cooking skills and learn different recipes, and also like fish and then do magic. And it's like its own little world, which I think is so cool and so creative. And I'm just getting started, but I think it'll be a fun time, and I might enjoy playing it in like a different way than my partner enjoys playing it, but like that's okay. We can still have fun and still think that like different things are cool within the same like cool concept. if that makes any sense at all. I've also really loved It Takes Two, which is like a game I play with my partner because it literally takes two people to play it. You can't play by yourself. And it has been such a wonderful way to bond. I can't remember if I've mentioned it on the podcast before or not, but it just like requires us to do like problem solving activities together and work together to like accomplish a task goal type thing. And I think that is a really, really wonderful thing to do like as a couple, especially as a couple who likes to game like individually and together. So yeah, highly recommend that. And just, just embrace like whatever you enjoy doing. Like that's really what this episode is about. It's just having faith that what you like is meant for you. And that in itself is a reason to be like confident in the things that you like to do. The last thing I wanted to chat about was dressing cool. Obviously I wanted to chat about it because I've very much been thinking about the way I want to dress, as I mentioned earlier. But I think that dressing for the occasion is always great. I think that like whenever I dress for like whatever activity that I'm doing, it makes me feel more ready and prepared for that activity, if it makes sense. Like if I wake up and I put on workout clothes, then I am much more inclined to actually like go do a workout versus like today I went and put on like a cute fit with like jeans. So now if I have like the urge, like, I feel like, I could do some stretching right now. Like that sounds nice. I would probably be like, what, never mind. I'm wearing jeans. It's uncomfortable. It's just not going to work out. And, that type of thing. But I think it's also important to remember to not only dress for the occasion, but to dress for you and yourself and what you like and feel comfortable in. Like, there's also never a need to like choose a niche. I really hate the concept of choosing a niche and just like trying to do research on, podcasting and being an artist. There's just like so much out there that's like, pick a niche. You gotta pick a niche to like find your place in the market. And you know what? Maybe that's true. And maybe that's why I haven't like found my place. But frankly, I like variety. So I don't want to choose. I want to have range. I want to have range in my art. I want to have range in my podcast concepts, and I want to have range in my style. I want to be cozy sometimes, glam other days. Some days I'll, attempt to follow the like mainstream like fashion trends. And sometimes, I'm going to want to go retro and do something that I haven't seen in a while or haven't ever seen before. And that's what makes it fun, is getting to be different and choose something new whenever you feel like it. So I'm very passionate about that in all aspects of life. I constantly crave variety. I just want to be the jack of all trades in every way, shape, or form. So that's that. And I do realize that means that I can't be a master of one. Like, you can't have both. You can't have your cake and eat it too. And I am perfectly content in that. Like, people might not see me and think like, oh, she's like, a beachy retro cowgirl type girl in like her fashion. But they might say like, oh, I've seen her wear like all types of things. And that's what I'm trying to go for. And you only have to like care about fashion if it interests you. You just really need to like embrace what you feel drawn to, what you feel comfortable in. I do think that there is a lot of value in caring about your appearance to a degree. Like, looking good does lead to feeling good a lot of the times. I have at least found that to be true personally. But, there's no need to feel left out and being disinterested in things that other people care about. Like, if you really couldn't care less about fashion, like, you don't have to. And, you don't have to feel weird about not wanting to. But I do think it's also important to be open to learning about why other people might care about it and treat it as an opportunity to, like, connect with another human or with another experience that you've never maybe had before. Like, there is, as much as there's a lot of as much as it's just like totally okay to like do what you are comfortable with, and there's no reason to like constantly make yourself uncomfortable for other people, I do think there's a lot of value in exiting your comfort zone for yourself and, you know, just exploring other things, because you'll never know if you like it or how something makes you feel until you try it. So I think that simultaneously having an open mind is key to respecting, you know, what is in your comfort zone, you know? I think that makes sense. I really have rambled a lot today. Today's one of these days where I've just like talked for an hour and I have absolutely no idea if I've made any sense or not. So I hope I have. Key takeaway is to just like, if you want to be the coolest fucking person ever, then do all the things that you think are fucking cool. Like, that's where I'm at. And I used to like firmly believe that I was one of the coolest people ever because I was so confident and knew that I was doing all the things that I thought were cool. And, you know, that doesn't mean that I believe that I'm cooler than anyone else. Like, there's no comparison happening here. Like, that's not healthy. That's not the point of any of this. You know, I hope that everyone else also thinks that they're the coolest fucking person ever because they're doing all the things that they think are cool. That is the purpose of today's episode. That is the message. Everyone can be cool if you just do the things that you think are cool. Life is really that simple sometimes, and I think it's extra, extra cool if you feel like sharing those things that you think are cool, because then the world can not only experience those things, but they get to experience you, and both of those things are very, very beautiful. So, yeah. That's that for today's chit-chatting. I hope to see you next week on Thursday, first Friday, if you know, you know. And we will be chit-chatting about... Oh my goodness. You're going to get an episode even sooner than Thursday. We are putting out a bonus episode on Saturday to celebrate the winter solstice. It is the shortest day of the year, the longest night of the year, and it is going to be a good, grand time. It's also getting me to my goal of producing a dozen episodes by the end of the year, so there will be a second bonus episode happening at some point in 2024, so keep your ears open for that. And yeah, I hope you join us on Saturday for some chit-chatting about the winter solstice. I've been so into like the research of studying these pagan holidays, and it really just makes me feel like I finally found, like, I don't know, a spiritual practice that like holds meaning for me, because it is rooted in like nature and the natural cycles, and it's really cool and interesting. So I'm going to talk about it and celebrate in whatever way I can. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. So tune on in for that bonus episode. There will still be an episode next Thursday, so come on back anyways for that. If you're feeling lovey-dovey, you know, following, liking, commenting, subscribing would be very generous. You know, a little rate and share, all the things. You know what to do. And you also know that if you want more content, all you have to do is check out the show notes below. There are tons of links to tons of different things, and yeah, there's no shortage of things for you to look at. So check them out if you feel like it. And that's all. So until next time, bye babes.